Hey everyone, I'm working on an 04 Hummer H2 and the air conditioner blower motor went out. I'm going to show you how to change that today. So if you go over to your passenger side, look underneath the dash right here, there'll be a couple screws. There's one screw on this side right here, and then there's one on the back side right in there. And it takes the, I believe it's a 7mm to take them out. There's two of those. Once you pull that out, go ahead and pull the tray down, slide it out, set it off to the side, and you'll see the blower motor setting right there. So then you can go over here and disconnect the power. Just put the little tab up in there and pull the connector outward. Sometimes they're a little tough. Might have to put a little screwdriver on there and push it up in there from this side. Pull it out just like that. And then I'm using a 5/16 socket, which, you know, yours might be a different size. Just use whichever one works best for you and start unbolting the 3 bolts that's hanging the fan on. There's one right here, there's one back here, which is probably going to require a shorter socket, and then there's one, I believe, right here, right close to the, right behind the electrical deal right there. Take those 3 out and the fan should pop right downward. You might have to put some pressure upward on the back 2 screws, hold the fan up in there. But once you get the last screw out right here, a lot of times you can get it out by hand, just spinning, and I'm having to hold the camera and unbolt it at the same time. But you'll see right here, as soon as I let go of this last bolt, that the fan will practically just fall out on its own. And I have to wiggle it back and forth and get it right through there. And I got the fan out like that. You can see all those leaves and stuff up in there. So whenever you're putting the blower motor back in there, sometimes they don't want to go back in exactly the way that they came out. They feel like they're too tight, but you can always spin the base of the blower motor, where the actual motor is, spin it around, and sometimes they'll go in easier. But you can see now, whenever I put this one up and orient it right there, that it's pretty much going back up in there the way that it came out. And then I'm going to spin it just slightly just to get the mounts lined up, and go ahead and start reattaching the screws. So once you get all those screwed back in, then you can take your wiring harness, go ahead and clip the plug back in. And then I wanted to kind of show you a couple of places that you want to check is that if you go underneath your hood to the driver's side, if you look at the 4th fuse, or the 3rd fuse back right here, it says blower motor number 40. Now I already checked this one, it was blown, and I am going to replace it. I just put 50 in there just to check it really quick, but it was blown. I put it back in there. If you go to your driver's side, right behind the door right here in the corner, if you look on here where it says HVAC, it's a 10 amp. There's a couple of places like that. It's right up in here. These fuses, you need to check those, make sure that they're not blown. So like this fan here, completely locked up. It's got a lot of water in there. You can actually see water in the floorboard. So I got to try to find the leak and how it's getting in and fix that issue also. But on this one, it also blew the controller. The fan has a controller right here, which has a connector right here that connects up in there. And whenever the controller goes out, or whenever those fuses blow, if the main fuse at 40 amp underneath the hood blows, you won't have any power coming right here. Okay, so once you get that main fuse underneath the hood replaced, you can put your voltmeter right there and ground it out somewhere and see that you've got basically full voltage there. Now how you check to make sure that your controller is the one that's acting up is you go to the center plug, which the center plug right here is the one that changes the voltage, changes the amount of power that's going to the controller, so the controller can tell the fan motor what to do. So go ahead and put your test clamp in there, for your voltmeter. Now I'm not real sure what the actual voltage should be coming out of there, but if you look at your voltmeter, whenever you've got the center pin connected on there, and then you go up to your dash, and you can control the fan right here. You can see that the fan is all the way down, and then you go like this and you can see it's going up. Okay, so what you do is you come over here and check your voltage, and you know, ground your test wire somewhere. And then as you're reaching over, right now it's all the way down. And watch what happens whenever I turn it up. Whenever I turn it up, you can see the voltage slowly going up on it. And it kind of jumps all over the place because, like I said, I'm not sure what the actual voltage should be on there. But whenever you look at it, whenever you go all the way up and then you go all the way down, you'll see the voltage drop on it. Whenever you go all the way down, you can see that little bit that's changing. Now I'm going up, and you can see it's going up. So that's basically telling you that your controls are working properly, as far as like your dash is controlling the voltage to here. So, you know, which sometimes this changes more. I just forgot what the readings were. It's been a while since I've did one of these fans, so I forgot what the you know, what the power should be on this. But that, you know, if you can get it to change like that, just to show you that the switch is working on the dash, then that means that your regulator right here is most likely bad. So now you're gonna have to go and buy a new regulator and put it on there. And nine times out of 10, if you replace a fuse and this red wire is getting full power and the purple one is changing, you know, in voltage slightly using the switch, the black one's a ground. So 9 times out of 10, if you've checked this right here and you're still not getting the fan, a lot of times what happens is that whenever you turn on or you plug this up, like right now, if I plug this up, the fan's full blast. So you hear that there? It's full blast. There's no controlling of it on the dash, and that's telling me that this controller right here is shorted out also, which it probably happened, and that's the reason why that the fuse popped. But you know, the fan is what caused it originally. The fan completely locked up, and whenever it locked up, it probably blew this and then blew the fuse, or blew it at the same time, you know, the controller. So once you replace the controller and you've checked this, made sure it's getting power, then you should be good to go with you know, getting your fan working again. So after going to the parts store and finding out that this resistor for the Hummer is not available, basically, the you know, we looked online, seen a couple of places that had some refurbished ones, and we cross-referenced a whole lot of different numbers, and we couldn't really find anything except for this one right here. This standard part number right here, this RU631. It is a updated design for, like, I believe it's the Avalanche or Chevy truck, but you can see that you know, it's pretty much the same as far as the shape. The heat sink on it's a little bit differently. The way that it plugs up is slightly different also, but it still goes into the hole, and the mounts on the original one was kind of sideways, but you know, you can sit some screws through here and be able to get it to work. Now we'll show you that if you look at these wires are basically all the same colors as what's on the original. It just goes from a 3 plug here and a 2 plug to the fan motor, to where the fan motor comes from this plug here instead of coming off the side. So whenever you plug up and use the wiring harness that the new resistor comes with, it already has the plug that is this one right here that plugs into the fan. And then all you gotta do is wire this end, which it's color coded, you know, the red, purple, and black. Cut the ends off right here, red, purple, and black, and butt connect those together, and then this will go directly into here and replace the original unit. So I used 2 of the blue connectors for that, and then a red one for the purple wire. Then I pulled the tape back a little bit that was covering the original wire right here. Now the new connector gives you plenty of wire to cut the old connector off right there. Just make sure that you pull the fuse on this to where it doesn't have a power, or cut each individual wire. If it's got power and you cut the red one and the black one together, then you'll end up getting a spark and probably blow your fuse. But just disconnect take your fuse out and you shouldn't have a problem. And then go ahead and strip the ends off and get it ready for the new connections to go on there. And in case you're wondering, you need to pull the 40 amp J-case fuse that's underneath the hood in order to disconnect the power from the red wire right here. So once you've butt connected those, you're pretty much ready to reinstall. Now this connector will connect to the new controller or resistor, and then this will go to the motor, and you'll be able to fasten everything back up in there. Now you might have to find some screws, since the original one had off to the side. You might have to find some longer screws. Everyone's going to be different, so the way that this mounts up in here, it mounts up kind of sideways compared to what it usually does, so you can see that the mount is off just a little bit, but if you just use you know, the screw, you should be able to get it up in there without any problem. And one of the things you might want to check for is mice and stuff like that. If you see this stuff right here, if your vehicle's been sitting a while, you're going to have all types of stuff coming out of the airbox. And what happens is that the airbox drain hole will get stopped up from all this debris being in there. Then that water goes up in there and covers this area, and water ends up coming all the way over to the blower motor, and then it'll lock up your blower motor, get all rusty, and cause it to quit. So if your AC system isn't working properly, you might want to check and see if you have all this stuff up in there, and have to clean it all out. Now on this particular one, the resistor, if you look at where the plug is orientated at, okay, and then the tabs, the big tab side is the one that I'm putting closest to, you know, the left. The small tab's going to the outside towards the motor. And the reason why I'm doing that is because if you flip it over like this, then that small tab ends up hitting up top and doesn't get a real good seat. I mean, you can wiggle it around there, but you can see right there how it's hitting the box back here. So if you flip it around, the big tab's not hitting the box as much, and you're able to get it to set pretty flush right there, and then you just plug it in and you should be fine. Also, whenever I'm screwing in the screw on the left side, I'm going to the hole that's right next to the big one right there in the center. So basically the third one back is the one that I'm using. Now this front one right here, I might end up drilling a new hole in there between the big one and the small one right there closer to the case. I might drill a hole right there to be able to get it to line up a little bit better. Now I did spin this around and tried to see if it would fit better, but it just seemed like that was my best option to use this third hole right here. If I can get it in there while I'm holding the camera. So the third hole just like that, and that fits pretty much perfectly where it needs to as far as the screw goes. So I'm able to screw that up right there, and then you can see how it fits really flush. But over here it's off quite a bit, so I'll probably drill a little hole right there just to get the screw in it, and then you know, we're widening up the bottom there to get it to screw up there and make sure it sets flush all the way across. Yours might be different, so you just have to do whatever you got to do to make it fit and set properly. Now underneath the dash on the right side, in order to get the screw to line up right, I drilled another hole right there. I didn't have a hole, but I'm sure it'll be fine. You can see how it goes up through there, and that'll allow me to mount the screw into the box and hold this up. And now you can see how this is the one that I drilled into there, and it sits perfectly all the way across, and that one's mounted in on that hole that I was telling you about, and it's flush all the way around, and it's nice and snug. So I don't think it's going to be an issue doing it like that, but that's how you can use the relay off from Avalanche or something on your Hummer. And then once you get done with that, you can go ahead and start reconnecting everything. You can see how the wiring that come off from that goes directly into that. And then you're going to want to maybe take a zip tie or something and zip this new wiring up and away. You want to just make sure that there's plenty away from the foot area so that you can put your cover back on here and get all the wires protected. Then once you get everything mounted back up, you can go ahead and test the system. You can see right here where going down with the switch. You can hear the fan going down. Now I'm going up, the fan speed's going up. So that's how you fix your fan problem. But that's how you change out your fan blower molder and the resistor, and then put in a different style resistor meant for a different vehicle. It's basically the same. I mean, most of the GM stuff, you know, if it has a resistor underneath the side right there, I believe most of them's the same, so it should work like this one did. You just got to figure out how to mount it. Just keep in mind every vehicle is different, so you're gonna have to, you know, come up and figure out what you need to do in order to put it in. So other than that, thanks for watching my video today. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button for me, like it, share it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Stay tuned for more videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching again, everyone. So we're out at Lake Stanley Draper, out on the bike trail. I think it's like about 14-mile trip or so, somewhere in there, 13 and a half. But the little one's doing pretty good.